cancer. Are you going to call your predecessor?
I think it's very sad, actually. I'm surprised that it wasn't, the public wasn't notified a long time ago, because to get to stage 9, that's a long time.
Yes, on the old scale, 9 out of 10 for Joe Biden. Stage 4 for the prostate cancer itself. And maybe we should ask James Comey about this. What do you think he'd say? What would Comey say about this? He and his wife might go down to the beach and make a shell arrangement of some kind. Our Democrat Party, can we disband the Democrat Party? Can it be banished from the land forever? Maybe that should have been done after the first Civil War that they started, so they could keep their slaves. Now they just want to have lots of illegal aliens sleeping in dog beds down by the hot water heater in the basement. They'll give them ironic names like Liberty and things like that. And a very good Tuesday to you, and welcome back once again. So James Comey is out there doing interviews. He's got a book he's pimping now. Can you say pimping when you're talking about the former FBI director? I think you can. Did he get the Roger Stone treatment? Did he get the Peter Navarro treatment? Because I think whatever standard James Comey applied to the political enemies of the Democrat Party should be applied to James Comey, because turnabout is fair play, isn't that? Yeah, I think your grandmother used to say that. Somebody said turnabout is fair play. And James Comey, maybe shackles, orange jumpsuit, dragged away. Maybe that prison in El Salvador would be perfect for him. He could get some tattoos on his knuckles so he could fit in. Remarkable things going on in the United States of America. President Trump up on Capitol Hill this morning pushing the big, bad, beautiful bill, and some of the Republicans not entirely on board yet. Maybe they should, make some shell arrangements. And isn't it great a shell group? Speaking of shell groups and shell organizations, Jake Tapper has a book out. The CNN guy, Jake Tapper, he's got a book, and it's not about his date with Monica Lewinsky, not this time, although that is the story that catapulted his journalistic career into the stratosphere. Hey, I had a date with Monica Lewinsky. Oh, really? Did you, the obvious question emerges, right? But Jake Tapper, he's got his new book out, and he's pimping it, and it's like, oh no, I can't believe the news media missed Joe Biden's decline, and honestly, it's like Lee Harvey Oswald saying, I can't believe somebody shot Kennedy. It's one possible parallel. Just remarkable stuff. Jake Tapper, wow, the news media missed the whole story. Isn't that just great? And speaking of which, Joe Biden has Joe Biden's daughter. This is Joe Biden's daughter. Flames Jake Tapper and his just out book on the former president's hidden decline. Quote, smut. And isn't that amazing? Original Sin. The book on Biden's health decline reopens Democrat Party's wounds. They have wounds. They had a lot of wounds. They have gushing head wounds and things like that. Remarkable stuff. But my friend Tom on the Space Coast in Florida, he sent me this morning. He said, Jake Tapper's book, it should have a different title. Jake Tapper's book should be titled Sorry. That's it, just sorry. Yeah, maybe with Jake Tapper standing there, curling his lip and his eyebrows up and throwing his hands up in the air, palms up, Sorry. Sorry, we missed the obvious story for 5 years that we're paid millions and millions of dollars each to cover for you. But it turns out we lie all the time. Here's the thing about that. Maybe that should be the name of the book. We should rename Jake Tapper's book. Like my friend Tom got it going out of Florida with Sorry. That's pretty funny. And maybe the title should be Never Believe Me Again, or Any of the People That I Work With. That'd be a good title for a journalist's book, wouldn't it? I think that'd be good. Speaking of which, Ashley Babbitt. You may recall Ashley Babbitt, a 12-year United States Air Force veteran who went to Capitol Hill on January 6th and was gunned down without mercy by a racist police officer who had some bitter resentments going back to his teen years in high school, and he saw Ashley Babbitt might have been trespassing, so he gunned her down. Fatal shot, one kill for Officer Byrd of the U.S. Capitol Police, and he was paraded around like a hero, like he was Eisenhower by the Democrat Party, like he had done something really great. They gave him awards. They gave him more money. They gave him a promotion. They gave him a medal, didn't they? It's like, yeah, they gave him a medal. The Democrats gave him a medal for gunning down Ashley Babbitt, nice young woman, 12-year veteran of the United States Air Force, honorable, unlike Hunter Biden, the crackhead, dope-smoking son of the president who was kicked out of the Navy after his second cocaine bust. Can you call it a bust? It was a violation. Kind of a lot of violations in the Biden family history. Speaking of which, turns out Joe Biden, it's President Trump being asked about that, of course. Oh, and it's so sad. And we had Ezekiel Emanuel, the brother of Rahm Emanuel, and the one of the authors of Obamacare, one of the greatest abominations in the history of the nation. But Zeke Emanuel on with the radical left-wing extremists at MS-13 LSD. They amazingly, God, they lie all the time, just amazing. And they're shocked. But Zeke Emanuel, who's a world-renowned, now, at least he's world-renowned now because he's in the papers, and the Democrats, they promote the heck out of each other, don't they? It's just a hot oil rub all day long for these people. And Zeke Emanuel said, he probably had this cancer for a decade, certainly for years, certainly while he's president. And then what do they have? That doctor on CBS, right, said, well, maybe they were saving money not testing him for his prostate-specific antigen, the PSA test, which I think every adult male in the United States gets every time they walk by a doctor's office because everybody keeps an eagle eye out for that. The Washington Post today says, no, we don't really give the prostate test for old men. No, we don't do that. Why would we do that? And that must be part of Obamacare or something. They get more people to die that way, and then Obamacare will cost less. I think they are the left. You got to keep that in mind because they're not liberals. But the news media scrambling like Jake Tapper. I wonder what Jake Tapper in his book Sorry. I wonder what Jake Tapper is saying about the Biden cancer story because that was another one. I got it. The news media should feel like they've been utterly betrayed and treated like cheap trade. The amazing stuff. Well, in fact, speaking of that, it goes right into this. The left-wingers at Mediaite have a headline, quote, I'll shove it up their ass. That's the headline. I've got it. That's in the news media. I'm not using coarse language on my own. That's journalism today. And then colon, interestingly, comes right after that because it fits so well. It fits so well there. Trump rails against political opponents at posh dinner, as opposed to the president, going to Taco Bell or something. Doesn't the president have a posh dinner every night? Didn't Joe Biden have a posh dinner? Wasn't this doctor sitting right over there every day and every night? And, hey, maybe because you're 80-something years old, maybe we should see about your PSA, your prostate-specific antigen. Maybe we should have a test. No, and CBS says no, because the Biden White House was so thrifty, they decided they were going to save the taxpayers' money by not having a prostate test, a PSA test for the president of the United States. And they assume that everyone will believe this because, like their boy Gurgle, they just make the lie so big that no one would dare not believe it. Speaking of James Comey and giant lies, they're quite amazing, these Comey people. And who was it? Roger Stone, the pre-dawn raid on Roger Stone. What was he accused of again? They had the FBI with the CNN camera crew in tow across the street, pre-dawn raid, battering ram. They're there with rifles and helmets and masks, and because a Republican was in their crosshairs, just like Donald Trump is in their crosshairs. James Comey speaks on controversial Trump post, quote, crazy, end quote, to think it was a threat. Yeah, because, it's not like you have a reputation or anything like that. Not like you're a political hack. Nothing like that going on. Just amazing. And I did mention Ashley Babbitt. And January 6th is one day we're going to have a holiday in the United States, Ashley Babbitt Day. It will be January 6th. Everybody will get the day off because it was like the Boston Massacre. But what was it? They weren't even, Ashley Babbitt wasn't throwing anything in the water. She was just allegedly, she might have trespassed, for which the Democrats give you the death penalty. Achtung, Achtung, raus, raus, ting, 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 ting. Honestly, it's Hogan's Heroes all over the place. Speaking of Hogan's Heroes, yesterday we were talking about him and the Democrat governor of the state of Minnesota who ran for vice president, Tim Walz. He's accusing ICE of being the Gestapo, but he can't pronounce the word Gestapo, hard as he might try. These are not smart people. These are not intelligent people. They're not. They may have gone to all the right schools, but they were not well educated. These are not intelligent, well-informed people, and they're not people that should be trusted. But he's out there, ICE, rounding up gang members that are murdering people and sexually assaulting everybody. And they're the Gazpacho or whatever you call them.
Trump's modern-day Gestapo is scooping folks up off the streets.
The what? The Gascupo? Who do you call them? The Gascupo? These are not bright people, not sharp people. Amazing stuff. The Gazpacho. I'm not a big fan of Gazpacho, truth be told. I've got one restaurant in D.C. that has, for part of the year, they have Gazpacho, and it's pretty good. They've never rounded me up and taken me away with masks on or anything like that, but it's a nice soup. It can be, depending. So we've got that. And President Trump, because he's got a lot of common sense and he sees through the bourgeois going on in Washington all the time. It's a lot of bourgeois. Trump suggests Biden's cancer diagnosis was covered up. They got another colon there. Somebody is not telling the facts. That's in quotation marks from the extremists at Mediaite. Isn't that amazing? And then he's got Joe Biden had a doctor, White House doctor, Dr. Kevin O'Connor. His medical school is calling. They're asking for their diploma back. Hey, could you just roll that up and put it in a tube and maybe send it back to us, because we don't think you're a very good doctor, and we don't want our diploma hanging on your wall. Dr. Kevin O'Connor. Oh, no, why would I do a PSA test on Joe Biden as President of the United States? What am I there to keep him healthy for a long period of time or something? No. Just amazing, amazing stuff. Yeah, and I love the Joe Biden's, the daughter. Isn't that amazing? We've got that going on. And Whoopi Goldberg. Whoopi, why do they call her Whoopi anyway? I don't know, I can't even imagine. No bouncy bounce going on there. But the Whoopi Goldberg says there was no way, she says, Biden would hide cancer diagnosis from the public if he were still president, because why would he hide the cancer diagnosis when he's running for president at the age of 111? That doesn't seem natural at all. But she's an ABC News employee. They pay her millions of dollars too, Whoopi Goldberg, because she lies all day, every day for the Democrat Party, and that's the deal that they've struck with the networks. It's a good deal. They don't hire any conservatives, not HBO, not ABC, not CNN. They pay them millions of dollars to lie for the Republican Party. But fortunately, you don't have to. You can just tell the truth. And then when the Republicans behave like idiots, you say it. The Democrats, they don't do that. They'd throw themselves off of bridges to protect the party from one bad headline, the Democrat Party. And we got a Democrat Congresswoman, LaMonica. She plays the harmonica. LaMonica, the Democrat House member, and she is going to face criminal charges for assaulting federal officers. Why didn't she get the Ashley Babbitt treatment? Come on, it's fair play, isn't it? But LaMonica, she is the Department of Justice charges for her, and now the Democrats might have to start shooting because you know how they are, firebombing stuff, Molotov cocktails, targeting the Jewish people as they so often do. Aren't they amazing? So just a few things we have coming up today on our Humble Radio broadcast. Did you know that the all-new third-generation Eden Pure Thunderstorm air purifier has finally arrived, and it builds on the incredible success of the previous generations, and those earned thousands of 5-star reviews on Al Gore's Amazing Internet. Became a bestseller in no time. The new Thunderstorm uses 2 technologies that studies have shown help to kill up to 99.9% of viruses and bacteria floating in the air. Also removes dust and pet stuff and smoke from the air that you breathe, and it gets rid of any odor. No filters to buy and replace over and over again either. You can hold a Thunderstorm in your hand. The Thunderstorm will get rid of any stinky smell. Guaranteed trash cans, cigarette smoke, liberal protesters, musty basements. No match for the Eden Pure Thunderstorm. And it takes care of it in just a few seconds, too. Right now, because you know me, you can save $200 on an Eden Pure Thunderstorm 3-pack for whole home protection. You put one in your basement, your teenager's room, any place you like to breathe clean, fresh air. All you have to do is go to EdenPureDeals.com. EdenPureDeals.com. Use the discount code CHRIS3, CHRIS and the number 3 to save $200 on 3 Thunderstorms. That's EdenPureDeals.com. The discount code is CHRIS3. Yes, sir. Yeah, LaMonica MacGyver. She ought to be in cuffs. And the Democrats will probably burn the Capitol down. You know how they like to burn things, especially with Molotovs. They might ask first if there are any Jews in there, because that usually gets them real riled up. We're at 888-630-9625. Chris here with a list of things that none of us should trust. The Washington Post, the New York Times, anything on CNN. Here's a list of things that I do trust. The Washington Times. Support real journalism for just $1 a week at WashingtonTimes.com/Chris. Okay, let us go to the, look at that clock. Let's go to the telephones. Let's go to Larry calling from Kensington, Maryland. Larry, you're on the Chris Plante Show.
Good morning, Chris. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
I just wanted to clarify what I think is a very obvious point, that the reason they've hidden this cancer from the American people is they don't want Kamala in the driver's seat. It'd be pretty detrimental to the country. So I think the short, sweet, and obvious answer why this has all been hush-hush and under the sheets.
So it's because they're racists.
Oh, no. You're looking at it from a Democrat point of view. Because they have a monicum of, common sense.
And they just wanted to make sure, because if they revealed that Joe Biden has cancer and he's had cancer for years, and that he's 82 years old or whatever, then Kamala might have become president. And even they recognized that Kamala would have been so bad for the country and for humanity that they had to withhold that information. But they did withhold that information. And I'm going to get to the news media on the Joe Biden prostate cancer. The lie so big that Joseph Goebbels would blush. He'd be red-faced. He's like, well, you can't say that. That's too ridiculous. Come on. But the Democrats are good with that. That's what, Jake Tapper and information dominance is all about, is you can, throw out things that are so obviously and flagrantly untrue that no one will believe them, but you don't care. You'll just repeat it 1,000 times until the polls show that people believe you. This is why they destroyed public education. It's step one to happiness for the left on planet Earth. Ignorant people, and the Democrats love ignorance. They're not liberals, they're the left. Speaking of which, there is a Democrat congresswoman who is a rabid, violent criminal, and her name is LaMonica, which is not a name I've ever heard before, LaMonica. It does remind me of Monica Lewinsky and a song about Monica Lewinsky, but that's not. And speaking of which, Jake Tapper himself, he launched his political career, his journalistic career. His political career was working for a Democrat member of Congress on Capitol Hill whose husband was a Democrat member of Congress, too, and he was corrupt, and he was found guilty of corruption and sent to prison, right? And then their son married Chelsea Clinton. Might have become the daughter since then because they're Democrats. But all that's true, except the daughter part. But the Jake Tapper. And then he had a date with Monica Lewinsky, and he wrote about it in the City paper in Washington, and that's when the news media said, oh, we like him. Let's pay him millions of dollars to spread Democrat Party propaganda. And he's been doing that ever since. And now he's got a book out called Sorry, because I've been lying to you for all these years, and I'm going to keep doing that, but that's there. Now let's get to LaMonica. She's a Democrat member of Congress. She's from New Jersey. She violently attacked police officers, federal police officers, ICE agents, and so on, at a facility in New Jersey where lots of illegal alien gang members and murderers were being held. And she went there with a bunch of Democrat members of Congress to try to break them out. They, what we should do? We should move the illegals to Fort Sumter in South Carolina and see if the Democrats attack it again, as they've done before. They have a history of doing that. But here's the Associated Press, Democrat Representative MacGyver. They don't even use LaMonica in this headline. I don't know why. LaMonica, I'm going to add LaMonica. Democrat Representative LaMonica MacGyver charged with assault after skirmish at ICE Center. They call it a skirmish. That'd be a felony assault of a federal law enforcement officer. New Jersey prosecutors say, and the Associated Press, Dateline, Washington, not New Jersey. Democrat Rep. LaMonica MacGyver is being charged with assault after a skirmish. They're going to insist on the word skirmish with federal officers. You mean assaulting, violently assaulting? Honestly, did Ashley Babbitt assault federal officers? She was allegedly trespassing, but no assault. And they shot and killed her, and then they gave the killer awards and promotions because they're the left. They love killing. And, their political enemies would come in number one, and then little helpless babies. $1 million a year, but never mind that. So LaMonica MacGyver's been charged with assault after a skirmish with federal officers outside an immigration detention center. They were trying to break in at the time and break out the illegal alien criminals. Said New Jersey's top federal prosecutor, who also announced Monday that she was dropping a trespassing charge against the Newark, New Jersey mayor, whose arrest led to the disturbance. I don't think that really led to the disturbance. I don't think the arrest of the mayor led to the disturbance. I think it was part of the same disturbance. The disturbance is the Democrat Party. Interim U.S. Attorney Alina Habba wrote on social media that MacGyver, the Democrat congresswoman, is facing a charge of assaulting, impeding, or interfering with law enforcement, but court papers providing details were not immediately released or publicly available online. They got to read it on the internet, or they don't think it's true yet. I believe they released the documents, though. Maybe they're not online. Isn't that amazing? The prosecution of MacGyver is a rare federal criminal case against a sitting member of Congress. Now, I recall there's Goldbars Menendez. He was a Democrat from New Jersey also, with piles of gold bars and stacks of folded cash in every jacket pocket he had in his multi-million-dollar home. But he does make, $180,000 a year or something, and he's got stacks of gold bars and piles of cash, and his wife got that Mercedes-Benz as a gift, and the big house, and wasn't he in trouble for underage women in the Dominican Republic, too? Isn't that the same Democrat? They all have a lot of sexual issues, don't they? So the prosecution of MacGyver is a rare federal criminal case against sitting member of Congress for allegations other than fraud or corruption. Go back to Jake Tapper and his work on Capitol Hill. The case instantly taps into a much broader and more consequential power struggle between a Trump administration engaged in a sweeping overhaul of immigration policy. It's a sweeping overhaul because the Democrats waved in 10 million gang members during Joe Biden's time as president for 4 years. Only 12 million people came in through Ellis Island, and that was open for more than 60 years. Probably a number greater than that under Joe Biden's 4 years, because they opened our borders and told us we all better learn to speak Spanish and teach our kids to join gangs and to shower with men who are gang members. You know, just the little girls. Never mind that. The Democrat Party, a lot of issues. So it began a sweeping overhaul of immigration policy and a Democratic Party scrambling for ways to respond. So you know what they do? They firebomb governors' houses. That's how they respond. Within minutes of Haba's announcement, MacGyver's Democratic colleagues cast the prosecution as an infringement on lawmakers' official duties, because lawmakers' official duties include violently assaulting law enforcement to serve their constituents, as long as their constituents are tattoo-covered gang members from some third-world beephole country. And an effort to silence their opposition to an immigration policy that helps propel the president back into power, but now has emerged as divisive fault line in American political discourse, because the Democrats, they love crime and criminals and gang members, especially if they're illegal aliens. You may recall we played the audio of Democrat Congresswoman LaMonica MacGyver violently assaulting police at the ICE detention center. I've seen video of the interior of the place. It's nicer than any school I ever went to as a kid. It's real nice. I've lived in apartments not nearly as nice as this detention facility. I never had a soccer field. They all get soccer fields, don't they? Like at Guantanamo Bay and at this illegal alien gang member facility in New Jersey that the Democrats are trying to do a breakout like they're from Yemen. Honestly, the Democrat Party should change. We should change its name to the Houthis. We should call them the Houthis from now on. Do you prefer Houthi or Houthi? I like Houthi because I speak English. And I don't do that soft H, Houthi stuff. It's Houthi. And the Democrats are more like the Houthis than they are like the, in Yemen, the terrorists, rabble, firing at ships going into the Red Sea toward the Suez Canal and all that. But here's the violent rabble, including the Democrat congresswoman who's now been charged. She says, look at the body cam video. All right, I have. You're under arrest. Get the leg shackles. Taser. Bring in U.S. Capitol Officer Byrd with his gun, the trigger-happy loon. Remember that guy? He forgot his gun in the men's room on Capitol Hill, too. Hey, anybody see my gun? I seem to have left my gun somewhere. Yeah, well, it was another one of your extended breaks in the men's room, and your gun's sitting in there. Unbelievable. At the same time, Elena Haba, the prosecutor, announced that her office agreed to dismiss a misdemeanor charge against Democratic Newark Mayor Ras Baraka. See, he sounds like a member of the Houthis, too, doesn't he? Ross? Do you have any friends named Ross, R-A-S? Any Ross? I don't have any friends named Ross. You, Michael? No, Baraka? Ras Baraka. They're the Houthis, who was arrested after he attempted to join MacGyver and two other members of New Jersey's congressional delegation. But wait a minute, I thought it was his arrest that started the whole thing. Except they were all there together, so the Associated Press again lying, misrepresenting what actually happened. Ras Baraka, who was arrested after he attempted to join MacGyver and two other members of New Jersey's congressional delegation, they leave out that they were Democrats, inspecting the facility in their oversight capacity. They wrote that with a straight face. No, that's not how you inspect a facility as a member of Congress, in their oversight capacity. But you can call and say, hi, I'm a member of Congress. I'm a communist. I'm a member of the Houthis. And I would like to come in tomorrow and inspect that facility. And then they say, oh, okay, come on down, member of Congress. But when you show up like a gang of terrorist rabble and storm the place, then it sounds like this, and it doesn't go very well because the left is here. These are members of Congress. This is their oversight. It's a delegation. inspecting the facility in their oversight capacity. And the media lies. If they're typing, they're lying. What fraud wrote this for the Associated Press? Just amazing. It's Alana Durkin Richer and Eric Tucker and Mike Catalani. They wrote for the Associated Press. One reporter can't write anything more. You got to have 3 or 4. That's why they're all going bankrupt. Used to be one reporter, one riot, one ranger, as they used to say, but not anymore. And now the Democrats, this is and the Associated Press actually says that there were members of New Jersey's congressional delegation inspecting the facility in their oversight capacity. Sieg Heil, that is not journalism, that's politics by those 3 fake reporters with the Associated Press. The prosecutor, Lena Haba, said the decision was reached for the sake of moving forward and said that she has invited the mayor to tour the Delaney Hall Detention Center and will join him herself. The citizens of New Jersey deserve unified leadership so we can get to work to keep our state safe, Haba said. The Democrats want to keep the state dangerous. They're not on the side of the good guys, not at all. And this is, again, this is the sound of Democrat oversight involving mob violent assault on federal officers.
I'm filing a complaint.
She's filing a complaint. You will pay. This is oversight. It's congressional oversight. Because the Democrat Party is the third world. They have brought with them the third world. They're not liberals. They're the left. They've been indoctrinated by radicals. They are extremists. They are terrorists. They are the Houthis. Honestly, you people, you know what you people deserve. I'll tell you what you people deserve. Handcuffs, pre-dawn raids, FBI, camera crews in tow. Let's take a phone call, Michael. Let's go to John calling from Buffalo, New York. John, you're on the Chris Plante Show.
Good morning, Chris.
Hey, John.
Yeah, I wanted to go back to the Biden thing. I'm sure that the Democrats are looking at this as, purely political, of course. And I hate to say this, but I think the best thing for them, the best solution would be for Joe to leave us fairly quickly, at which point they could say, leave him in peace, leave his family in peace. And then after a couple of weeks, if the Republicans agree to that, they will say, well, that's an old story. Forget about it. What do you mean? You want to have hearings? Because this is obviously the equivalent of January 6th. They have to have hearings to figure out what they're going to do to these people who basically took over the presidency for 4 years, right?
Yeah, who was in charge? Yeah, and it turns out that if you are being treated for prostate cancer, that the treatments can lead to forgetfulness, and the chemical treatments can lead to forgetfulness and to mental incapacity. And so it's possible, not out of the question, that he's been treated for the last 4 years or 5 years since it was Zeke Emanuel, world-renowned cancer doctor, and he said he could have had it for 10 years. And it does have to be looked into to see how big a cover-up there was by the government, the Biden White House, the Democrats, and we've got to find out. We've got to get to the bottom of that. And there ought to be hearings, like the January 6th hearings. You're absolutely right. And we'll stack them just like the Democrats stacked the January 6th hearings. And honestly, the Democrat Party, they are not really a Western party. They've abandoned the Enlightenment and moved on to the Bolshevik Revolution. Not on our side. Not on our side. John, good thinking, and thank you. Thank you for the call. When a mother with an unplanned pregnancy, it happens, is deciding about the future of her unborn child, it can be an overwhelming situation for a young woman. She wants to make the right choice, of course, but society and media and those around her might be telling her that baby is not an actual human life. Well, Preborn's ministry, Preborn, their whole ministry is about love and love for these women. They want to empower them with choice, the choice of life. And it's an eternal moment for the mother and for the child. Briella was ready to take the abortion pill and end her pregnancy, but the pill never came. She decided instead to go to a preborn clinic. And after she received a free ultrasound, her eternal moment happened. Not only did her unborn baby wave at her and see the heartbeat, but she realized that this was the baby boy that she had prayed for. So she had the baby. When you support preborn, you're supporting life-affirming clinics nationwide with free ultrasounds for young women to help empower the mother to choose life. And your tax-deductible donation of $28 a month is reaching eternity. To get involved, it's very simple. All you have to do is dial pound 250, and when prompted, say the keyword baby. That's pound 250, the keyword is baby. Or you can go to Al Gore's Amazing Internet to preborn.com/plant. That's me, Plante. That's preborn.com/plant. Isn't that great? Yeah, we're learning more about the big lies that our government tells. We're here to tell the truth. The Democrats, on the other hand, well, they might firebomb your car or your governor's mansion or whatever it is. Then they'll accuse you of being, what, a Nazi, a fascist. Hey, wait a minute, but the governor you firebombed is Jewish. Yeah, Nazi. You're Nazi for pointing it out. The Congresswoman, hero of the Democrat Party because she violently assaulted federal police officers trying to break into an ICE facility because they've glamorized illegal alien gang members. There were murders in that facility, right? Democrats love murder because they're the left and they raise sons to be murderers and stuff. I picked up my Washington Post today on the front page. It's the Metro section, the bottom of the front page of the Metro sectional. 5 fatally shot in D.C. in 6 days, police say. And they tick off the 5 people shot and killed in Washington, D.C. And they're like, hey, how we doing compared to last year? Looking pretty good. But we've got the Congresswoman. She was on CNN this morning where she's being treated as a conquering hero because she's violent and attacking federal police officers and assaulting them. But because she's a member of Congress, they're all sitting there looking sad and saying, oh, she's just doing her job, violently attacking an ICE detention facility filled with criminals and trying to get them released.